Hey guys, welcome back to robotics. Hopefully you guys had a restful break. What I want to do today is a little bit of review and then also combining some of the things that we have already learned. So whenever we kind of jump back into things, it's always good to do kind of like a warm up. So one way to think of it is that this week will be a warm up week. All right, so let's get started. So this project here, this is my project from the end of last semester. What I want to do today is I want to focus on just this motor right here. All right. Again, we have 1, 2, and 3 motors, but today just want to worry about this one. Now this motor is connected to pin number 9 on my noggin. So I have my schematic here, right? We have brown, red, and orange, or it says bro here for short. Brown is connected to G and D, R to 5V, and then orange is connected to pin number 9. All right, so that's this motor right here that I'm pointing to with my finger. Now, what I want to do is we're going to program that motor to move, just as a quick review. And then what we're going to do is combine it with these guys, are 3 lights, okay? Our 3 LEDs. And so what I want to do is combine LED with motor, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and looking at my schematic here, let's draw the schematic for the lights. So I'm going to use pins 6, 7, and 8. So the first thing we need to add is a resistor. The resistor to limit the amount of electricity or amount of current so that our light doesn't explode. So we have the resistor, then we have our LED. There's a plus there, and the minus is there. And then this, the minus always connects to G and D. So I'm going to do one of these, our trick here, where that's a triangle. I'm going to draw a triangle here and say that is also G and D. Okay? So that's the first LED. Let's do the same thing for the second LED. And then the same thing for the third LED. All right. So we have our schematic here. One thing we need to notice, I'm going to just taking a closer look at this, right? If you remember, the LED has the resistor built in there already, the part where it's a little bulky right there. So that's why we don't need to add an external resistor, even though it shows it on the schematic. All right? So let's go ahead and build this. And actually, wait, before we do that, let's take a look here. Whenever we start wiring something, we want to look at patterns. If we can notice a pattern, it might simplify our life. Okay? What do I mean by that? Well, we know that the motor is already connected, so don't worry about the motor. We've already connected that part. All we need to do is connect these 3 LEDs here. So the pattern that I see is that the minus of all the lights, they are all connected to G and D. So what does that mean? That means that the minus of all the lights can be on the same row of the breadboard. Okay? That's going to make our lives easier when we start connecting this. And then we also notice that the minus of all the lights, they aren't just connected together, they're also all connected to G and D. So let's go ahead and make that connection. So I'm going to zoom in here a little bit. So I'm going to move this to the side so it doesn't get in the way here. So I'm going to make a row that's G and D, and why don't you do that as well? So we need to go from here. Like all of these are all where it says G. Those are all G and D. Okay. You might not be able to see it too well, but here. But if you look closely at your board, where the rows where it says G, those are all G and D. So I'm going to just take one side and stick it in there. I have a socket to pin wire here. Then I'll take this side and then just stick it in like that. Okay? Great. So now this entire row right here is G and D. Let's take my first LED and let's connect it to G and D. And we got to pay attention, guys. The red wire, which is the plus of the LED, we're going to make sure those have to be on separate rows. Okay, so just the black wire is going to be on G and D, the red wire on its own row. That's the case here. All right, now let's take another light. And remember my rule, right? The black wire needs to go on G and D. But then the red wire, say offset it so that the red wire, this wire right here, is actually on the row above. Okay? Now what? See, now it gets interesting. I can't just... See, if I go like this with my third light, see these two? If I do that, these two lights right here, they're actually on the same, the red wires are on the same row. So, sorry, let me, if I do that, the red wires like this, of these two, they're on the same row, so that's not going to work. If I go like this, the red wires of these two are on the same row now. So I can't do that. So what can we do? Well, I can maybe make another G and D and bring it somewhere else. But what I'm going to do is try to be a little smart here. For me, I can tell right here. I think this is an extra wire. I'm going to move this. This brown wire for me is also G and D. So I can follow it and it says G and D right there. So I'm just going to say, okay, let's take this last light and put it over there. All right, and now I have a red wire that is on its own row. So yours might look a little bit different from mine. The key thing is that all the black wires need to go to G and D, and all the red wires need to be on its own row. All right? Now that we've done that, let's go ahead and get some more of these wires, these kind of wires, pinned to the socket, and let's connect each of the lights 1 to 6, 1 to 7, 1 to 8. So I'm going to take this one right here. I'm going to put it to 6. So I got to go to row 6, or column 6, and row S for signal. That one's going to be 6. All right, let's take another one. And now remember I'm connecting to the red wire of the LED. This one's going to go to 7. Okay. And then one more. Doesn't matter what color, guys. We'll just go this one here. That's the positive or the red wire of this LED. It's going to go to 8. All right, here we go. Got my 3 LEDs here. I'm going to twist it up here. So that we can see it all. I think that's not bad. I think that works. Okay. Now let's do some programming to figure out what those are. Okay, so I've connected it to 6, 7, and 8. All right, and taking a look at our code. You know what, let's simplify this a little bit. All right. You know what, I'm gonna make it super easy, guys. Super clean, and we're just gonna start a new one. All right. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna do a void setup. That's going to be our setup function, and then void loop. All right. All right, so here's what we need to do. Let's set up the pins for the lights. What pin numbers did we use? 6, 7, and 8. So pin mode 6, output, because it's a light, which is an output. Pin mode 7, output. Pin mode 8, output. All right, here is now the time when we test. So we're gonna turn on pin 6 and let's see what happens. Digital write 6, high. Okay, so pin 6, let's see what color pin 6 is. Oh, we got to connect it first, right? It might have code on it, we'll see. Oh, yeah, that's all right. All right, it is red. Cool. So pin 6 is red. And I want you guys to do this. We're going to use our variables. So let's go int red pin equals 6. And then we're going to go through here, change that to red pin, change that to red pin. Okay. Now your number, it may be different, right? Your 6 may be blue pin or purple pin. Okay, so it's going to be, you gotta keep track of that. But for me, pin 6 is red. So now let's try 7. So I'm changing it to 7 and see what happens here. 7 is green. Okay, great. So int green pin equals 7. And let's do that. Green pin. Right? So now we just make sure everything works. It should be green. Nice. And then now, process of elimination. I already know what yellow pin is. It's the only one left, 8. Okay? So if I did yellow pin here, let's also change this. It should be yellow. Nice. Okay, so the challenge 1, is create variables for each color pin. All right, so you need red pin, green pin, and yellow pin. And what you're going to have to do is put the right number in there. Now yours may be different than mine. Okay, it really depends the way that you wired it. So then let's do a quick challenge here. I think we've done something like this in the past where I want us to blink green, red, and then yellow. All right. So now that we have our variables in there, red pin, green pin, yellow pin, this will be super easy. So I just say I want to go green pin. Then I'm going to turn it on. I want to wait 1000. And then I want to turn it off. Remember, we got to turn it off because it's a blink, right? On and off. Then I want to do red. So what I'm going to do is just take this, copy this, and do red pin. So green, red, and then yellow. Yellow pin. All right. So it's going to blink green, blink red, blink yellow. Let's see if we can do this. Let's upload. Green, red, yellow, and it should just repeat. Green, red, yellow. Okay, so now, since we're doing this and this is a review, I want us to take it another step. So whenever we're designing code or even wiring, we want to look at patterns. If we see a pattern, we might be able to simplify our code to make our lives easier. So what pattern do we see here? I see repeated code. I see that there's a digital write a pin that high, then delay 1000, and a digital write the same pin low, delay 1000. So these 4 lines are basically repeated here, here, and here. The only difference is going to be the color of the pin. So what we can do here is actually make a function. Now, in the past, we created functions where you couldn't change the pin. Today, I'm actually going to introduce a little something new. You can actually change the pin. I'll show you what I mean by this, okay? So we're going to say void. We're going to create a function called blink. Okay, and then I'm going to take these 4 lines that I see is repeated. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to put it in here. Okay, now sometimes I want it to be a green pin, sometimes I want it to be a red pin, sometimes I want it to be a yellow pin. So how do I put that into my function? Well, you can actually set that, you can make that setting by putting something inside here. So I'm going to call this int color. Okay, so this is it's the formal term is a parameter, but you can think of it like a variable that works inside of the function. So int color, so color is the name of the variable and int is the type. Don't worry about what int means for now, okay? It's just the variable is color. So what you do is you put color here and color here. So I want us to kind of just think about it before I tell you what's going to happen here. So I have this function blink. It takes in a variable that's called color. So whenever these 4 lines runs, it's going to control whatever pin you put inside color. So if you put in green pin, it's going to go green pin high, green pin low. If you put in red pin, it's going to go red pin high, red pin low. It's whatever you put in the variable color. Okay, so now I have this nice function here, blink, right? And it takes in the color. I can take this, delete this, and just say color green pin. Because I first want it to blink the green. Then I do color red pin, color yellow pin. All right. So this one is for the red pin, get rid of that. And this one here is for the yellow pin, get rid of that. So check that out. Because of this really nice function with the variable inside, my loop only has 3 lines of code now. So hopefully it works. Let's try this out. Upload. Oh, color. Oh, look, that's not the name of my function. I named it color here, but no, it's actually called blink, right? My mistake. Blink here. My function is called blink, not color. And blink. Okay? All right, it should still work. Green, red, yellow, green, red. Okay, cool. So we just learned how to use functions, but with variables inside, or another word is parameter. Okay, when you have something in here, it's called a parameter. So the third challenge, which you could just copy what I just did here, create do challenge 2, but using the blink function that includes a parameter. I might ask you on Thursday what a parameter is. All right, parameter is going to be this thing that goes inside of a function. Okay, so we have that going. Now let's combine the motion of the motor with the lights, and then we'll just stop there for now. So let's see if we can get our motor moving. So to do that, hashtag includes servo.h. Got to make sure we do that. And then we need to set up our pin. Now, since we have these nice variables here, let's go ahead and make one for our base motor pin. This pin 9. It's kind of nice to have it. You got 6, 7, 8, and 9. All right. And we're going to then, we need to attach our thing. So let's first set up as an output base motor pin as an output, because that's the one controlling our servo motor. All right, which is equal to pin 9. And then we need to create a servo object. So we're going to go up here, servo, and we're going to call it base motor, right? All right, and then under setup, we need to attach base motor dot attach base motor pin. All right, let's compile, just make sure everything's good. Okay, everything's good so far. Now, in our loop, let's go ahead and move our base motor to 0 degrees. So I go base motor dot right 0. See if this works. Should go to 0. Cool. Okay, let me move it down a little bit. So it goes to 0. And then this is blinking. Okay. So what I want to do is I want it to go to 0. When it's at 0, I want it to blink green. Delay, and then I'll wait there for, let's say, 3 seconds. Then I want to go to 90, and I want it to blink yellow. So that's this one here. And then wait there for 3 seconds. And then I want to go to 180, and I want it to blink red. Just get rid of that. Delay 3000. All right. So our code's going to go to 0. It's going to blink green, chill out for 3 seconds. Go to 90, blink yellow, chill out for 3 seconds. Go to 180, blink red, chill out for 3 seconds. All right, let's make sure that this works. Okay. 0. 3 seconds. Okay. Okay, so you can see it. It's kind of working. But what I want is I want it to blink. Let's make it blink a couple times. So what I can do is called, like I want to go to 0. I want it to blink 3 times green. And when it goes to 90, I want it to blink 3 times yellow. And then when it goes to 180, blink 3 times red. All right, let's try this now. The other thing I might want to do, maybe I want to change the speed of the blink. We'll see. Okay. See, it's blinking 3 times green now. Three times yellow. And it should be 3 times red. And then it's you see it's kind of wobbling there. It's because it's at the edge of it, and the motor's kind of unstable there. I could maybe instead of 180, because it's all at the edge, maybe I'll go to 175 or something. It might fix that. I'm gonna change these delays too. Only 1,000 in between to make it move faster, some more action. All right, let's try this. All right.